do that. What is it doing? What is this?
Welcome to Creator Hunt, a channel where I make videos featuring YouTube channels and creators that I think make great videos and deserve more attention. Steve Mould is a science channel that makes educational videos by performing different types of experiments. In one video he shows us how we can twist his eye around his pupil, and how you can do that too. He has also made a video showing how to move one eye. Levitating lip gloss is another video Steve made, where he explains the science behind it. He also makes videos about visual illusions and how they work. In this example, it's a phenomenon of polarized light. In another video, he shows how hand sanitizer fires are invisible. The thing that is burning is ethanol, which burns very cleanly with no glow. He also goes into detail about how the siphon, the fabric softener tray inside your washing machine, works.
If you remove the tray from your washing machine, you'll find a really interesting hydrodynamic mechanism, specifically in the fabric softener tray, this bit here, that's a lid. Here's the compartment itself, and you'll notice it's completely sealed. If I fill this thing with liquid, there's nowhere for it to go. But if I keep filling, eventually it reaches the opening at the top of this tube here, and it starts to pour through that opening, and it comes out the back here. But the liquid doesn't empty completely, it remains at the same level as that opening at the top of the tube. So how is it that when I put fabric softener in the washing machine and I come back after the wash is finished, that compartment is completely empty? How does the liquid get out? Well, here's a clue. When I put this lid back on, watch what happens. The liquid empties out.
Illui by Mike Lamb is a channel that makes animated explainer videos about healthcare, psychology, and technology. By the use of beautiful illustrations and great storytelling, Mike is able to simplify complex terminology and explain the latest concepts in simple and understandable ways.
How small is the smallest piece of technology you can imagine? The size of a grain of rice? A grain of sand? How about the width of an individual strand of spider's web? A red blood cell? Narrower than a single wavelength of visible light? Okay, now we're talking. Welcome to the realm of nanotechnology. At this minuscule scale, we measure things in nanometers. To give you a rough idea of just how small those are, in one day, your fingernails will grow by around 86,000 nanometers, about the width of a human hair. By comparison, nanotechnology is defined as being between 1 and 100 nanometers across, which is just a touch more than your fingernails will have grown since you started watching this video.
GeoWizard is a channel that makes videos of himself playing the game GeoGuessr. GeoGuessr is an online game that teleports you around the world using Google Street View. All you have to do is guess where you are. The closer you get, the more points you are awarded. It's an incredibly difficult game to be good at, and GeoWizard is one of the best players in the world. It's oddly satisfying to watch GeoWizard describe his thought process as he makes incredible guesses around the world.
Next one. Wow. Gotta say, this looks like Norway, where I've just come from. Where's the sun? That's what matters. And it's in the north, so we can't be in Norway. That's quite amazing. So we've got to be in Chile or Argentina, and out of the two, the mountains are on my east side, so I would say the chances are that we are in Chile, and I don't know, about here perhaps. Oh my goodness me, that is, I did think when I clicked it, that's a good one. Feels like Senegal. I need to see some French. Well, I'd like to. I can't see any French, but I don't know. I'm going to go Senegal. Let's go Touba. The Great Mosque. Is that what I'm looking at in the distance? We'll soon see. How about there? Oh. I am speechless. I am absolutely speechless at that.
The Life Guide is a channel providing interesting and educational content about a range of political, philosophical, economic, and historical topics. Their videos are short but packed full of information that is presented in an entertaining way. The Life Guide covered topics such as the Mongol Empire, the Greek gods, the Second World War, the Vietnam War, the Cold War, and much more.
At the end of the Second World War, the Cold War had begun. The world lay divided between two great superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. It would not be a conventional war, with the two sides never directly fighting. Instead, it would be an ideological battle between communism and capitalism, the East versus the West, and the resulting struggle for ideological influence and power. Both sides would stockpile nuclear weapons, with questions over how to use, control, and eliminate them becoming central to the conflict. From Stalin to Reagan, from the arms race to the Cuban Missile Crisis, from the Berlin Wall to Vietnam and Korea, this is the story of the Cold War.
Technology Connections makes educational videos focusing primarily on the history and evolution of various technologies people use, including chest freezers, coffee percolators, and rice cookers, to name a few. He also reviews pieces of technology and demonstrates how they work. Here's a video about how sprinklers works.
These dudes, though, well, I'm sure you've heard how in one direction they go all but in the other direction it's more of a Why does it speed up? And how does that make it go in the other direction? These sprinklers are downright fascinating, and for a bunch of reasons. This little armature serves to redirect the water's path. It will first hit this angled piece, which throws it slightly to the left, but immediately after that it will hit this sort of scoop shape, throwing it back to the right and roughly on its original path. The armature isn't fixed, in fact it can move, but a spring acts to return it to its resting position. When the water comes flying at the armature, as the restriction in flow created by the nozzle causes its velocity to increase dramatically, the armature gets flung with a fair bit of force to the left. That force gets absorbed all nice and soft-like by the spring, but of course the spring returns the favor and eventually flings the armature right back where it started. And by the time it gets there, it's moving pretty fast.
Essential Craftsman is a channel that makes informational videos related to blacksmithing, general construction, safety and productivity, and various other trades. The videos feature Scott Wadsworth and cover a wide array of topics, tools, history, opinions, and lessons. The purpose of the channel is to showcase the knowledge that is gained through experience and encourage respect for the craftsmen, their tools, and history.
So I would guess 80% of the time, when I pick up a rope to use it, I start by tying a bowline. That's because 80% of the time, the first thing I need to do is attach the end of the rope to an object. And a bowline is hands down the best knot to use to create a loop in the end of the line. There are several reasons for that, but the first one is because you know if you tie a bowline to create your loop, it doesn't matter how hard you pull, that loop is not going to get smaller and it's not going to get bigger. That knot won't slip. The second thing is it doesn't matter how hard you pull, you can always get a bowline off your line.
Florian Gadsby is a ceramicist working in North London. Here you'll find videos that show the process, how pots are thrown and finished, and finally glazed and fired.
Once centered, I flick down my throwing pointer and I open up the ball of clay. I tend to use my thumb and my forefinger to do this movement, but equally you'll see potters using 2 thumbs and even 2 index fingers. It really depends on personal preference, I think. There isn't much to trim on these. I simply skim off a thin layer on the outside and neaten up the form, making sure the sides of the pots are nice and straight and smooth. I dunk each pot using a pair of tongs, clasping not too tightly, as doing so can quite literally cause the pot to explode. The final step in the long creation of a piece of pottery is to glaze fire them. At the moment I'm using a mains gas-fired Roda kiln. It's a front loader as compared to my electric kiln, which is a top loader. Early the next morning I'll come in to light the kiln. where I always make sure that all 4 burners are lit before I close up and seal the door. But at this moment, when you finally crack the door open, all is revealed. The soft tinkling noise you can hear is the sound of the glazes contracting over the stoneware clay body beneath. Every single one of these pots is carefully inspected as they are removed. I'll leave you with some footage that shows a white glazed beaker and a dark green beaker, which is what this whole video has been working towards. Thanks for watching.